Guerillashire.
Welcome to Guerillashire, and today I am delighted to say that my guest is Chevy Green, Director of Programmes for Surrey's ACE programme. Now, a study by Leeds Beckett University last year found that a 72% decrease in black players in the English game between 1995 and 2019. Well, just one English-born black player had played Test match cricket since 2004. That's prior to Jofra Archer. And it's not just in the professional game. In our recreational game, only 1% of players are from African Caribbean heritage. Now, the ACE programme was launched by Surrey County Cricket Club in January 2020 in response to this alarming decline, with the bold intent of doing something about it. And to help us understand what and how well it's doing, I am thrilled to say hello to Chevy. Hello, Chevy.
Hi, Tony. Thanks for having me. Greatly appreciated to be with you this morning and talk around all things the ACE programme. Looking forward to getting stuck in with you.
Well, fantastic. Well, let's lob you a gentle full toss to start with. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into your current role.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Chevy Green, I'm now director of the ACE programme, but it started off for me at Surrey 7 years ago. Started off as a community coach, became a development officer, and then a cricket participation manager. And this role just kind of appeared, really. I was working on the Surrey ACE programme, and back in March, where we had the trials and the open days, the programme was then heavily affected by COVID, but through that process, Sport England got in touch with us, and they liked what we were doing, and said, we want to support the program to grow. And initially, it just started off as an extension of my role at Surrey as a participation manager, where I helped make the bid, and worked with Ebony and Richard Gould to kind of put a bit of meat on the bones to the program. And then skip a few months down the line, as things progressed, Sport England said, let's make this bigger. Could we make it into a national program? And we said, okay, yes, let's look at that. And they said, can you work towards making it an independent charity? We'll give you a year to do that. And between Ebony and I and a few others, so we set up the charity in 8 weeks. And
wow.
then the conversation said, who's gonna run the program? So then that's where the role came for me.
You were the only one left sat in the room.
Yeah.
They went, it'll be you.
Pretty much. Yeah. So it's kind of looking around, and a few, there's a few rumblings of, Chev, you might potentially get to run this program, and then it happened. So then there's a bit of negotiation between the Surrey Cricket Foundation, the charity arm of the club who I was working for, and the county club and Sport England. And then it was decided that I'd be the director of programs, and I just thankful with everything that's going on this year, the past year or so, to still have an opportunity to progress and develop my career in something that I'm really, really passionate about. And it's exciting. Like, we launched in October as the independent charity, and I'd started on the 1st of December with my new role as director of programs. And it's been quite full on, juggling all the different stuffs with the lockdowns and everything else. And we went as soon as we could get back out in December. We had 3 sessions before Christmas with the current scholars that we've got on the program. And then, we had plans to do some more stuff this month, and we was going to have another open day in February. And, we launched in Birmingham this month as well. And, due to like everything else, it's kind of been put a little bit on the back burner, but there's still a lot of things, going on and taking place. So, just excited.
We'll come along and we'll talk about all of those things in good order, I think. So Ebony Brent is chair of the charity, isn't she? Was she directly involved in your appointment?
Yeah, she was. She kind of founded the program. There was a few people at the time actually having a lot of separate discussions, but Ebony kind of pulled it all together and kind of led from the front on this. And yeah, she, I've known Ebony for quite a number of years now, and as we was kind of working on the bid and putting everything together, and as everything landed, she was quite pivotal in having the confidence in me, putting my name forwards to be director of the program. So I'm thankful that she saw something in me and other people at Surrey, like Richard Gould, the chief exec, and my ex-employer Chris Coleman at the foundation, all saw something in me and believed in me, and that I could be the director and take this charity forward. So just positive, and can't thank them enough for.
That's fantastic. Great for you, and great for them. Let's ask another simple question, just for everyone's understanding. We have a very international audience, not just the UK. I might obviously. So it's a fairly simple one. ACE, is it an acronym? I could see African Caribbean potentially in there. Is it just a statement of intent? Tell us about ACE, the word itself in this context.
Do you know what, Tony? It's a bit of both, if I'm honest. It started off as the African Caribbean Engagement Program, and that's what ACE stands for. And I remember we was in a meeting, and I kind of just said, how can we simplify it a little bit, and that's where ACE came. But Ebony and I talk a lot about accelerated change. So with ACE as well, we use ACE as accelerated change empowerment. So we want to move things forward as quickly as can and empower the young people that we work with to fulfill the potential that they have. So yes, it's an acronym, and yes, it's a statement. I want one day to hopefully everyone will determine the name ACE as part of our program, and not just a serve in tennis
or a card.
Or a card, yeah.
but yeah, I get. It's funny though, because when I looked at multiple articles about you and social media and your own sites, because you got a lovely section on the Kia Oval Surrey site, but then that links to the charity site. You don't ever actually use the three words in full, or if you do, I missed it. So that's why I asked that.
It's very rare. It's very rare. I think it's just to simplify it a little bit. But yeah, I just want get to a point where everyone knows that it stands for African Caribbean.
Well, the mission statement, bold and clear and absolutely restated everywhere, is supporting diverse talent from grassroots to the elite. And you kind of, I think, cite three objectives within that. So to sort of get everyone kind of understanding where we are and what we're talking about, I'm going to read those out if you don't mind. But then perhaps we'll go back to them one at a time, and you can tell us what's going on behind those and what some of the success measures are. So supporting diverse talent from the grassroots to the elite. Sitting within that, three big objectives, which are building grassroots programs, talent pathways, and a better ID within Black communities. Providing elite academy programs and scholarships to talented players, allowing them to fulfill their potential. And the development of a diverse coaching and volunteer scheme through targeted training and mentor programs. So that's a pretty clear agenda of things to be done. Let's look at them one at a time. Maybe the first one, building grassroots programs, talent pathways, and talent to open up to the Black community opportunity. Tell us a bit more what's behind that and what's been happening and how you're doing.
Yeah, so for us, we know there's talent out there in the Black British communities, and we've seen other sports excel in that. Football's got a high number, rugby recently, athletics, other sports have captured that talent. So for us, there's a long history, I guess, with the Black community with cricket, going back to the Caribbean and Africa, and we just want to try re-engage that. And to do that, we're unfortunately we're at a stage where we have to infuse and find the talent out there, and by doing that we have to go to where they are. So we've got a school program that we plan to roll out, and going into and setting up community hubs, and just being an access point So we've got to really try and get to where the kids go, working with schools and youth clubs and community groups, and doing a series of different, skills and challenges that are cricket based, but also a bit fun. And then from that, we'll be able to draw, some key denominators that we can say that they've got potential or a bit of talent, and then put them into our academy program if that is required.
I saw one extraordinary stat, I think, from one of the things Ebony had said. It was 33,000 black children walk past the gates of the Oval every day. Was it every day, every week? But
yeah.
The point I suspect was, the just massive, untapped, probably unmotivated, not currently interested, but could be well of talent that potentially is out there right on Surrey's doorstep.
Yeah, it's quite sad when you look at it, because there'll be many kids and families that are in the vicinity of the ground that are from the community that we want to attract, but some of them wouldn't even know that the Oval is a cricket stadium. Imagine that for us as cricket fans, the Oval is iconic, but people living on their doorstep some of them wouldn't even necessarily know it. Is it a football stadium? Is it rugby? They wouldn't necessarily know that it's a cricket stadium, which in some aspects is very embarrassing. So part of the thinking at the start was how can we infuse the communities that the Oval is in Lambeth, the heart of got a big history of black communities. We need to be more. The Oval needs to be more reflective of that, and unfortunately for many years it hasn't. So by having this program, we hope to change that and make the community feel a lot more that open to coming into the ground, whether it is to watch, to play, and just be a part of it. And a lot of the areas that we plan and hope to go into, and by launching in Birmingham is all targeted boroughs that have a higher population of the black community. So for us, it's as part of our talent pathway. The only slight difference is where we'll be doing the school stuff and the community engagement program and the community hubs is for a young black boy and girl who's got African Caribbean heritage. We'll look to kind of accelerate them into our academy if they've got a bit of talent, to give them some additional support. And if there are any, we're going to be working with all ethnicities. London is multi-diverse and loads of other areas are multi-diverse. So talented young Asian or white children, they will still get the opportunity to be part of our program at the kind of school and community level. But if they've got a bit of talent, we'll put them into my colleagues at Surrey to facilitate their development that way into the existing program there. All we're doing is through the ACEs providing a bit of extra support and coaching for young black British children.
I saw an interesting quote. I don't think it was that recent, but it was by Daniel Bell Drummond, I think. And he was talking about the different challenges between African, Caribbean and South Asian communities. And the case, or the argument he made was, or the challenge he put forward was, in the case of South Asian communities, there was the massive interest in playing the game, but working them through to the professional system was the harder part. But in the case of the African Caribbean communities, the kind of the interest in cricket has waned to the extent that it's getting them interested in the game itself. So it has a different set of challenges. How do you kind of gear up to address those challenges? It's one thing to promote being in clubs and things like that, but you're actually having to almost reignite the interest of a whole generation in the game of cricket, or certainly be part of that. How do you see that as a sort of a different set of challenges that you've got?
Yeah, no, first and foremost, I have to say thank you to Daniel anyway, because Daniel's a good supporter of us at the charity. He did a good Zoom with us, our young scholars. So that was quite inspiring. And yeah, as you said, the percentages that you raised earlier are dire. A 1%, participation at recreational level, and the drop off at the professional games are dire. So for us, is trying to boost those numbers, and with the South Asian communities, culturally, historically, a lot of the main sports that they play, all over the world, those South Asian communities is their main sport is cricket. So they have a vast interest in the game, and they've continued where where they've still got their separate kind of parks leagues and leagues that they play on a Sunday. So that whilst they're still ingrained in playing on a Saturday in the traditional formats, they still continue their long history of their own, cricket and infusing that. And years ago there was the same for the Caribbean cup competitions that used to take place. I remember the Clive Lloyd Cup and all those kind of things, and unfortunately for the Black British community over here, that kind of stopped and didn't continue. A lot of let's say the forefathers of the game, who are now probably grandparents and parents, didn't necessarily pass down that same love for cricket. And potentially there was a few barriers in there, time, finances, many different potential aspects that could happen. But ultimately, that love for the game necessarily wasn't passed down as massive as it was within the South Asian communities. So, for us, we've got to try and make a change. We're kind of, as you say, starting afresh in some places. But it's exciting that we've got somewhere to start, which isn't that high, and hopefully through this program we'll be saying that we can get the numbers up to one day just as much as the South Asian communities have had over the years in this country. And the journey, it's all part of a journey, and our journey starts at one point, and hopefully we've done some good things already, but we the main plan is, COVID permitting, we can go and infuse as many people as we can.
It might take longer than we want, but it will permit eventually.
So it will definitely come, but
So it's grassroots participation to ignite interest, and kind of starting on your own doorstep. But Surrey is jolly well located in a way to do that. I'll come on and talk about some of the expansion and other things. You talk about as well, the other one was providing elite academy programs and scholarships to talented players. Now you have one young chap at Surrey, don't you, who's coming through? Talk a little bit about how the academy is going.
Yeah, the academy's good. We've got 26 scholars at the moment, from all up and down the country. Actually, we've got a couple players from Bristol that travel down, one from Hertfordshire, one from Cambridge. A young lady travels down from Cambridge. So we've got players coming from all over. We unfortunately, the program has been heavily impacted, like anything else. So we didn't have through the summer as much training sessions and matches as we'd have liked. But for us, like you mentioned, a young man, Idris, was already a talented young player. And for whatever reason, didn't make it. And we didn't make Idris a talented player in the summer. The two training sessions and two games that he played in, he was already talented. All we did was expose him and give the opportunity in front of the right people. Credit to Jeremy Greaves, who's one of the performance managers at Surrey and is one of the head coaches on our program, and Gareth Townsend, the academy director at Surrey. They saw him, and he ended up getting to play a game for the Surrey under-18s at the back end of this season. So for us, it's just trying to create that opportunities where we can. We know there's some talented players we've got within our scholars at the moment. We've got some high end level talented of players that we want to keep providing those opportunities to play, and there's others that are kind of starting more on their journey. You've got a little bit more of a long way to go, but it's just supporting their development to get better. So we were having regular 2-hour sessions in once a week.
Did I see a number of about 70 signed up academy scholars at some point?
We had at our trial. So we had at the open days, we had 70 people attend the open days,
right.
And then we whittled it down to 24, and then over the course of the summer we took on 2 extra as well. So we've got varied levels in the current scholars of abilities, some at the higher end, some at the lower end, but we're just trying to support them to be as best players as they can, whether that is to continue their ambition to become to get into a county age group, and for others it might just be a better club player. So we're just trying to manage everyone's expectations best as they can. And in the past couple of weeks, we've had some interest from a lot of parents and players that are currently at some existing county age groups across the country, and feel at times slightly isolated, being one of the only Black children playing, or one of two within their respective counties. And they've faced, unfortunately, some of them have faced some on the field and off the field racism, and felt that sometimes the support that they've received from the county wasn't enough, and they've reached out to say, what can Ace do for them? So we're kind of working on a mentoring type program to support those existing players at county age groups, and their parents, just being, not necessarily on the playing side. If they need some extra assistance with the playing and coaching, we'll do that, but it's more on the mentoring side, just being a support mechanism for the parents and the players, when they face these issues. So yeah,
for every promising sports person going through age groups, there's a parent that gets them where they need to be. Trust me, I know. Okay, so that's very much about the academy and bringing on talent. Then the third thing you talk about was development of diverse coaching and volunteering scheme to actually bring through the training and mentoring. Now, the professional game is not necessarily a great thing to look at by and large right now in terms of the number of Black African Caribbean coaches. So is it a question of really sort of starting at grassroots level to ultimately change that?
Yeah, to a certain extent. That we know there's a lot of existingly, there's quite a lot of coaches out there. Well, I say a lot. There's a lot of male coaches out there at the moment. Coaching in the different environments. But we found a lot of them are, say, at level 2. And we want to try and progress them onto level 3 and create opportunities where they can get into, the performance environment. And also we just want to attract more coaches into the game. Try and get, we want cricket to reflect society. And like I said, with, a lot of these cities, London and Birmingham are very diverse. And, I think cricket should reflect that in the areas that they're in. So we want to try and encourage more coaches from the Black community to get involved, and we definitely want to get more women involved in the game. We want to get more women coaching. We want to try and get more women and girls playing the game as well. And the other thing we know, Tony, is that the percentage to become a professional in any sport is low. The numbers are low. So what we want to try and do is keep everyone infused, and the young people that we work with and the old ones, and we just want to try and get more talent from that into becoming, coaches, strength and conditioning coaches, nutritionists, scorers, umpires. It could be the next second 11 or third 11 captain at a club, and the more junior coaches, working on programs. So we just want to try and diversify cricket through our program. And like I said, the main thing is, I feel like, cricket should reflect society, and we live in a very multicultural time, and I think cricket could play a part in that, and hopefully we'll do that through this program to try and get more young coaches.
On Guerilla Cricket, we would 100% support you on that. So you've talked a little bit about the 3 objectives and some successes that we're already seeing there. One of the things you've mentioned the phrase, actually, and certainly Ebony has spoken about it in sort of various interviews I've seen that she's done about accelerating change. Yeah. Let's try and put pandemics to one side if we possibly can. Imagine for a second we could. If you project yourself forward 3 years of accelerated change from where we're going to be having this conversation in 3 years' time, either in a studio or at the Oval or somewhere around the world, because you've gone global. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are you looking back and saying we have done? What does success look like 3 years from now?
3 years from now, that percentage you first spoke about is going to go way up. I don't want to put a number on it just yet to sabotage myself at the moment, but no, definitely more young Black, British, African, Caribbean heritage children playing the game, infused. We've got plans to do that by, looking at some of the key national programs the ECB do, All Stars, Cricket and Dynamos, and, working with other partners like Chance to Shine to try and spread the awareness and going into targeted boroughs and places and cities where we know the higher populations are. So by naturally doing that, we believe that we'll be able to get the numbers up. And then not just getting people playing. We want to really transition. We want to transition players. So I'd love to say to you that in 3 years' time, some of the ones in our academy scholars at the moment who are maybe at the moment say 14 or 15, by the time 3 years down the line, we could say they're 18, 19, and hopefully would have had an academy contract or playing on a rookie contract somewhere at a county. That's kind of the main goal. And like I said as well, Tony, it's just we want to empower the young people. We know not everyone is going to become a professional as much as we would like them to. So it's just hopefully we could get some people working within cricket still, whether that is within cricket development, whether it is in the marketing team, whether it is events, but still involved in the game. There'll be more of a diverse feel to it, because at the moment you look at many of the different county boards, there's not many black faces across the country working in cricket development at the various counties. So that's
or at the coaching level or at playing level, and there's in a nutshell our challenge, right?
Yeah, so it's just the case. We want to try and, through this program, make sure that we're supporting cricket to get more black faces into the game. And, I'm excited to try and do that. And, that is the goal. And, we want to expand, and we've got some ambitions to go into other cities. And, already we've had some great interest from other counties already that are, reaching out to us. So we just want to be in a position to service that.
Well, let's talk about that, because you've already, I think you mentioned earlier, you talked about Birmingham and Warwickshire and your high concentration of black African Caribbean communities. You have expanded or replicated or licensed the model out, however you've done it, to work with Warwickshire. Tell us a little bit about how that's going.
Yeah, that kind of was those initial conversations started happening around September last year, and then they progressed once we launched it properly in October. We've had a lot of meetings since then, and the plan was to launch this month. Obviously, it's impacted like everything else, but it's replicating the same model where we would have been going out into schools, just in the targeted area of Handsworth in Birmingham. We would have been doing some stuff around there. And it kind of mirrored the same. They would have set up an academy. They would have weekly sessions, and they would have had a community hub as well. So everything that we're kind of doing in London, we're looking to do in Birmingham. Everything will look the same, and the support will be the same as well. And we just want to, by doing that, we had, it's probably come a lot sooner than we thought. We kind of had a year we was going to try and focus just on London, but we couldn't turn down the opportunity once Warwickshire were on board and was interested. And credit to them and credit to everyone else behind the scenes to help push that through. And we just got to be adaptable in this time, and they'll be starting their academy once.
Is there a Chevy of Warwickshire?
Who's in there is I've got a good friend, a guy called Eaton Gordon. Eaton's been involved at Warwickshire for a number of years. He's a manager in their cricket, their county board. Eaton's a great guy. He's been involved in cricket for a long time, and he's got a lot of good local knowledge to the area, especially Handsworth. His cricket club is Handsworth Cricket Club, so he's got vast experience. And trust him wholeheartedly to deliver the program just as well in Birmingham. And we have regular chats, and it's quite I think with anything you got to have the right people around you. And Eaton's one of the good guys in cricket, and we'll be supporting him as much as we can, and the team up there. And like for us as well, it's not just the London program, it's now a Birmingham program, so we've got to be just as visible in both cities to attract both. And
I can think of 501 good reasons why the West Indian Afro-Caribbean community should embrace Warwickshire. So there you go. What a legend that is. What a role model. Yeah, indeed. Speaking of legends, though, people may or may not know, on your patrons, you've got some pretty well-known folks, haven't you? Tell us about some of those. You've got Ebony, Michael Holding, Sir Trevor MacDonald, Roland Butcher, who, by the way, is a regular contributor to our show, particularly when England play the West Indies. He's often on the line. Denise Lewis, Sophia Dunkley, Mark Butcher, Alex Tudor used to coach just around the corner from me at Hampton Wick, actually. I'm sure he had many other coaching gigs, but that was one of them. Lonsdale Skinner. So and these people are not just sort of sitting back and saying good luck, are they? There's a lot of active engagement there. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, and just to add, just the past couple of months, we added Chris Jordan and Jofra Archer as well, who came on as ambassadors. So we need to update the website. So
Yes.
we'll update the website and get them. But those patrons and ambassadors you mentioned, are whole, fully invested into the program. As an example, Alex Tudor's joining us and joining myself and the scholars this evening on a Zoom, having a talk with him. So we've got Sophia Dunkley lined up to do something as well in a couple of weeks, and Roland Butcher, he's already sent me, we talk over WhatsApp and he sends me different ideas and things that we can do to implement. Obviously he's based in Barbados, lucky for him. But as soon as he's already said once everything kind of loosens up and he comes over, he'll be more actively involved, as a presence over here. But he's already been sending me loads of different ideas and resources that we can use.
We love having him on the show, so that doesn't surprise me.
So, he's a good guy, and and Mikey and Ebony have a fantastic relationship, and he's been sending her stuff, and there's a lot of frequent conversations. Lonsdale Skinner, he's chairman of the African Caribbean Cricket Association. At times I speak to Lonsdale more than most people, so there's a lot of connectivity there, and looking forward to working more with Sir Trevor McDonald and Denise Lewis over time, and Mark Butcher as well. So it's all I think, and through all the ambassadors and patrons we've got, there's a lot of kind of personal connections there already through Ebony and myself, and once we had that conversation, they're all fully on board to be part of the program, and it's very exciting to have these people, these names, household names, involved in the program, and it does help with certain conversations and brings a greater exposure to the program, and for them as well, a lot of them have said, we wish Ace was here, wish he was part of something like this, 20, 30, 40 years ago. So there wasn't a decline in the drop off, but we are where we are, and just using their expertise where we can to help develop the program as best, and show the scholars and the parents that they are involved. Like I said, Alex is coming on to our Zoom tonight, and that'll be an exciting experience to hear for the young people and their parents, to hear from him sharing his journey in the game and what he's done and what he's doing now, and how his vision to help the Ace program moving forwards.
Yeah, you've got to have a long-term view. I know I was pushing you for acceleration, and what are we chatting about over a beer in three years time? But you're talking about, let's not sugarcoat the challenge. You're talking about reigniting the lost interest of a whole generation of Black African Caribbean cricket fans. Yeah. Not from a near standing start. It's just dwindled so awfully, and that's the scale of the challenge. So 3 years was ambitious on my part, but you have to have a long term view. It sounds like you have.
Yeah, no, for us, we're funded by Sport England for 3 years as a minimum, but for us, we see this as a much bigger program, and we're not looking to go anywhere anytime soon. We want this to be around, for me, as well, I want to take the charity as far as I can, and within how many years, I could pass this down onto maybe one of the Ace scholars that came through as a player and now work their way up within cricket to become my kind of level as well. So that'll be a fantastic journey where you could have players coming through our program that went on to play professional cricket, but then went on to work professionally in cricket development as well. So that's the dream.
You have young Nico Reifer there at Surrey, don't you? Did he come through the program, or has he just been an active supporter? I saw him speaking passionately about it. Was he a direct result of the program?
No, I can't take credit for Nico.
Okay.
as much as I would like to, I can't take credit for Nico. Nico, he's from Barbados. He came over here a few years ago, went to Whitgift School. He's been part of the Surrey program. So he was part of the Surrey program, and naturally, being a young black man himself, he heard about the program, wanted to kind of be involved and was interested. So, he's been a supporter of ours, and he's looking to start his coaching journey as well. and we're looking to support him through that as well, working with Surrey and the PCA, looking to support his coaching development through our program as well. So yeah, no, he's a young talented guy. Was on a rookie contract last year. Suffered a bit of injuries, but he's got a bright future ahead of him, and we wish him all the best.
But if you say that, let me just stop you and pick up on something there I thought was really, really interesting. He's on a rookie contract. He's 20 now, I think, is he? If I remember my stats.
19. I think
19 or 20. But he's alongside his playing, he's already starting to study the coaching skills as well. Yeah. So you're kind of looking at a young talent simultaneously developing the playing and the coaching with a view to addressing those future challenges. I think that in itself is very, very interesting, because I mean, traditionally, I would imagine players get to 30 something and they go, the old body's not quite, I don't quite run the singles the way I used to. There's a couple of yards off the pace. I wonder if coaching will suit me. Whereas you're talking about a young chap who is simultaneously learning coaching as well as learning the game. I think that is kind of really interesting.
Yeah. It's good, and credit to him as well. Credit to him to give up. Credit to him to take that path, and I think it'll be great for him, because he's going to be, Surrey has some fantastic coaches around that he can learn from, as a player, but as a coach as well. And, we all learn from, our PE teachers back in the day, or our first cricket coach, and, or whatever coaches we've been around, you can take things from them. So, excited for him to start his, coaching journey, and excited for it to be with us as well, with a bit of support, and for the scholars too, having someone of his level around the program, coaching them, and just seeing, if you get him to do a demo, he's definitely going to bowl it better and hit the ball better than I am or some of the other coaches. So it's very, very aspirational piece as well. So excited for him to be involved.
That is fantastic. So we talked about the challenges, and let's just sort of look at one or two of those and see where and how ACE is starting to make a difference. I mean, one of the things that often comes up is that lack of role models. If a generation tends to move away. I know there was when we spoke to Rodney Hines recently, who's the sports editor of the Voice. I think in 2019 there were 9 black players across the 18 counties. In 1995 it was 33. That's an alarming decline. If I look at my own county, I'm a Middlesex man, even though I now live in Surrey. Don't shoot me. but I did practically used to live next to Lords. In my defence, you can take the boy out of Middlesex, but you can't take Middlesex out of the boy, as they say. But if I look at Miguel Cummings, fantastic addition, I thought, to the Middlesex squad. Now, potentially, he's going to have to jump through a whole set of hoops if he wants to be able to stay. And as we talk right here today, that situation is uncertain. So not only do you have a challenge in getting great role models, when one arrives who has all of the attributes to become one, there's obstacles in his way. Is there any influence that can be brought to bear there in the context of the aspiration of supporting African Caribbean interest?
Yeah, it's the role models piece is a big thing. It might seem small for some people, but it's actually quite big. If you're growing up as a young child, and even your parents, the parents seeing this, if you're not seeing any people that look like you, sound like you, move like you, just have the same experiences to you, if you're not seeing that within a certain environment, you're not going to be attracted to it. So there's no surprise that the numbers have dropped massively in cricket, but you've seen now in football, there's always examples of young players coming through and getting opportunities and playing for England, and stars of their club. So for young children growing up, they're going to see that, and they're going to be gravitated to that, and now you're seeing it more so in rugby as well. There's many black players playing in rugby at the clubs, and for England too. So the awareness of that is huge, and I think for us, one of the things that we're trying to do for the program, which we've been quite good at so far, is getting that awareness out there, and coming on Guerilla Cricket and others, other media platforms helps with that, raising the awareness and just showing. We film a lot of our sessions, and we put it out there on our Instagram page and stuff. And we're working on a bit of a behind the scenes documentary at the moment. Through Ebony's media connections, we're quite fortunate that we've got some key people working on that, and we've got working on some aspirational videos to put out there, just because we want to be able to put content out there where young people and their parents can see it and be like, okay, yes, cricket is actually something for me to be involved in and playing. And I think that there just hasn't been that. And like where other sports have benefited, and you look at athletics as well, for years there's always been sprinters, shot putters, javelin throwers, cyclists. There's an awareness there. So naturally, if you see people that look like you having success, being involved in programs, then you're going to be gravitated. If you don't see anything, you're not going to think, well, actually, should I play cricket? Is that for me? I don't see anyone else that looks like me playing. How am I going to feel with being in that environment? So we want to change that narrative, and hopefully we can do that. And the role models help. And going back to the point we said about the ambassadors and the patrons we've got, they help with that as well. Just their profiles. And like I said, we've got Jofra Archer and Chris Jordan, and then Jofra Archer, arguably one of the most spoken about names in cricket worldwide. So having that profile is huge for the program. And we feel by doing those kind of things, we'll be able to attract new existing and players who maybe have stopped playing, thought they played for a bit, didn't feel it was for them, and hopefully we can get them back into playing as well.
One of the things I've heard leveled at cricket, certainly cricket in England, is it hasn't always been that welcoming to dare I say it, non-white communities. If I look at the problems John Holder has cited, if I look at Rafiq in Yorkshire. Clearly, there is the supporting and there's that side, and there is the playing side. We'll talk a little bit about how, for example, the Cricket Supporters Association and yourself are kind of tackling a similar problem from different aspects. Yours very much on the playing and participation side, theirs on the spectator side. But is that a problem that's genuinely there? And by doing what you're doing, can the ACE program really be a key part in shifting attitude as well as getting that participate? I know the two things go hand in hand, but you clearly have the opportunity and are part of creating an attitude shift actually in the game, as well as to bring people in from outside it. The two must go hand in hand.
Yeah, and just like you said, there's changing behaviors and shaping attitudes. That's what we were, it's sad that cricket is like that for the best part of how many years in this country. And I can give you a personal example. I remember I went to a few years ago. We had a national conference at Lords, over 200 people in the room for one of their programs, all the kind of senior management within cricket, from Cricket Scotland down to Cricket Plymouth. I walked into this room and I looked around and I was just like, wow, is there any other black people in here? There's not many. Where's the Asian people? Where's the women? Where's the Asian women? Where's the black women? It's just like, unfortunately, cricket is predominantly dominated by old white men. And, a lot of the thoughts and the processes.
He says, talking to an old white man.
Yeah, I know. And I don't mean that by any offense, but it was just the reality of cricket in the country, that all the senior management, across all the county boards was predominantly, I'd say 90 to 95% white men, and and it's just trying to diversify that and trying to change that. And through this program, we would want to do that. And, even on the spectator side, like I said, through, being based at the Oval, the charity's based, and obviously the history to Surrey, we've always been in conversations that, when the West Indies were coming, the summer just gone, what we was putting our kind of feel on what that might look like for fans. And, it's sad that you go back to, the Oval used to be a heartbeat of having, a big history of West Indian fans coming in, because there's a real connection there. You had the music, the food, everything else, and the same Oval that embraced embraced that community, was one of the first the first grounds to stop allowing the music to come in for fans and stuff like that. So and over time, then you see the Barmy Army developed, and the trumpet guy and everything else, and it's like, well, you stopped that for one community, now you've allowed it for another. And in recent times as well, you got the Barahat Army comes in with the drums, and it's a fantastic atmosphere. And the Bangladesh fans, when we had the ICC Champions Trophy and World Cup and stuff, it's massive. And now it's just trying to, unfortunately, by stopping a lot of the Black British community who are supporting the West Indies, coming in with the conchs and the horns and the music and everything else. He lost a lot of people. People thought, well, I can't go to the cricket and be myself and enjoy it, so they end up stop going. And I guess that's filtered through on the spectator side, and hopefully through programs like ourselves and others, and like you mentioned, we can get more fans coming in and making them feel like, that the Oval and other county grounds and are places for them to watch cricket and enjoy. And regardless of whether it's, the other thing is, I don't want it just to be, well, West Indies are here, so let's get all the Black people involved to watch cricket. Let's be encouraging the communities to watch it all the time, because a lot of especially the young children, they're British. A lot of them have never been to the Caribbean. And
that comes back to the role models that they can look up to actually playing the game.
Like we got a young scholar on our program. His favorite player is Joe Root. He loves Joe Root, and he's not. We're kind of managing his expectations. You're never going to get to play to that level of Joe Root, but actually we found over this process he's really good in front of the camera, really good speaking on camera, and you might get to in a year or 2 years time you might actually interview Joe Root, and that is actually a realistic opportunity that we can develop through some of the media channels and links that we have. So it's just trying to empower the young people where we can, and these children their influences are British, their culture, a lot of them is British, and it's just trying to make sure that even if it's England against Australia and New Zealand, we're doing what we can to encourage more young Black people to come into places like the Oval to feel like they can watch cricket and have a good time.
Well, let's just come on to, for a moment, if we may, a couple of things which probably aren't at the centre of the remit of what ACE does, but ACE must, I guess, ultimately somehow seek to impact. One is the cost of sport. Now, I'm not an economist, but I do know, having two sons who have played the game, one very much still does. Cricket bat can cost you up to £1,000. Not to mention all the kit, and if you play for a club, you've got the shirt sponsorship on the shirt and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's an expensive game to play. Something like 22% people living in challenged circumstances in the UK. I might venture that inner cities, and therefore some of the communities you're looking to attract, perhaps over-index where those challenges are. Is there anything that you can do to somehow enable them to get them started with kit, with equipment? Because otherwise the risk is it continues to be a white man's game for people who went to public school, right? And somehow we have to break that. And kit and equipment is actually a big part of that. So is there anything ACE can do on that front?
Yeah, so as part of our scholarship program for the children on our academy, we have bursaries in place to cover equipment if required, travel expenses if required. So we've got funding in place to cover all those costs. And like you said, cricket is an expensive game. Bats now are like £400, some of them, and or maybe more. And that's a holiday. You get two of them. There's your grand alone. The helmet that can cost up to nearly £100, and the boots and the pads and the gloves. It's very, very expensive sport. So we do have funding in place to mitigate against those costs, and that will be an ongoing thing. And some players need more assistance than others, and some don't. But it's also just creating a safe place for parents and players to feel like they can ask us for support financially if they do need it, because some people are proud and they don't want to see that they're asking for help or a handout here or there. But we do have the funding in place to support that if players do require any additional support. So we've got funding in place for equipment and travel, etc., and anything really that if they can't really afford, that they need.
Well, so Chevy, even on issues like affordability of equipment, which is such a big challenge to participation and inclusion. It sounds like your charitable status and the plans you have in place are set to overcome that. We talked about black people feeling more welcome at games, and it sounds to me as though the cricket world, you're pushing the cricket world to make that happen. And Surrey, would you agree? Surrey are quite at the forefront of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a massive part of the game to make people feel welcomed into it, and the fans not feeling that the Oval was a place for them before. And I think, like we said, the Barmy Army have a nice space when England are playing, and when India are over, the Bharat Army do. And we was working with Surrey on creating like an area for the West Indian fans where you can have your jerk pans and a rum shack, and just kind of make it more Caribbean food type options for the West Indies fans to make feel welcomed in there. And I think all grounds have that responsibility to make everyone feel welcome, that it's a place for them, and even in general, not just when West Indies are here, but for us, the Oval is in Lambeth, and we've got a massive Caribbean, African and Portuguese community, so the food stalls should be kind of reflective of that, the food options, and just embracing all the community as best as you can.
Well, that is phenomenal. So we looked at that mission statement, you want to accelerate change. We looked at supporting diverse talent and grassroots to the elite, building grassroots programs, creating an elite academy, and actually including the development of coaching to bring coaching into the game. We talked about the addition of role models, the financial support that can be given to aspirant young Black and African Caribbean players. So indeed, we talked a little bit about working with the Cricket Supporters Association. So as you effect change from within the game, from the playing and participation side, they're looking at the supporters side, and effectively you're pushing in the same direction. It's incredibly exciting. It's an incredibly exciting initiative. It's off to a fantastic start. Just to conclude, tell us, if I want to know more or I want to get involved and I catch this interview, who should I talk to, and what are the ways I can help?
Yeah, no, you can contact myself. Anyone can contact me, from my email, which is chevy@aceprogram.com. I'll repeat it again, Chevy, CHEVY @aceprogram.com. And you can check out our website at aceprogram.com as well. And we keep a lot of our up-to-date things that are going on, our training sessions and everything else on our Instagram page as well. So you can check that out at ace.program on Instagram. And we've got other social media platforms that can all be found on our website. So yeah, please contact me, email me with any requests to be part of the program. Very much looking forward to hearing from new people who want to be involved. And a credit to yourself, Tony, and Guerilla Cricket for reaching out to help spreading the awareness of the ACE program. And all of this stuff helps to try and get more young people involved in the game, and you never know who's listening or watching, who will feel like, oh, that's an opportunity for me, an opportunity for my child or my nephew or my niece or anyone, cousin, whoever. So this stuff is important, and greatly appreciate you having me on. And yeah, please do spread the word of the ACE program. You can find us on our website, aceprogram.com, and please do email me at chevy@aceprogram.com or info@aceprogram.com, whatever is easier. Please get in touch and looking to support many people at whatever level they're at, whether it's at the elite level. But like we said, we want to take talent from the grassroots to the elite. So, no matter where you are, no matter what stage you are at with cricket, please get in touch with us.
Well, certainly people do. We hope this interview will go out at some point during our coverage of the Sri Lanka and England series. There's bags of cricket this year, despite despite all the challenges that the world throws in its way. There's still cricket to see, cricket to watch, and you will hear that. It will, of course, go out on all of our usual channels, YouTube, on our podcast channel. If you're a Patreon, you'll probably get the chance to hear those first, if you're a Patreon of Guerilla Cricket. So for now, I would like to say thank you very much indeed to Chevy Green, Director of Programs for the ACE program. It's been a fascinating discussion, and we stand right alongside you in everything you're looking to achieve. Thank you very much, Chevy.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Guerilla Cricket.
Revolutionary cricket commentary.